What's good, everybody? This video is going to be for my business owners out there, and this is especially going to be for those of you that are business owners and you're keeping track of all of your expenses and your customer payments on Excel spreadsheets and stuff like that, or maybe you even handwriting it into a notebook or something like that. I just wanted to let you know that there is a better way, and some of you guys might be very new in business. Some of you guys may have been in business for a while, but you're still doing it this way, or maybe you don't have a good tool that's good at keeping up with the information as far as your expenses and everything. And I wanted to share, a tool that I use with you guys that is something that will make your, tax person love you by the time it's time for you to do your taxes. Or if you have an accountant, they'll love you because they have an easy tool that they can use to keep up with and track your inventory, your sales, your expenses. And if you're doing all this stuff yourself, this will make you love yourself a little bit more because you've made your job a lot easier in regards to keeping up with your transactions, which is something that is very important in business, to make sure that not only that you save money on taxes during tax time, but to make sure that at the end of the year, you're not stuck trying to figure out what did you pay for something, back in January, or what was it for, or did this customer pay you, that customer pay you. So we're going to talk about that coming up. So you finally decided to start working on your credit after all of these years of being held back from the things that you want and need because of your credit. But wouldn't it be great if you weren't missing family time, your favorite shows, or even sleep because you're spending all these hours searching online trying to figure out what to say and do while you're disputing the items on your credit report? Well, it could be easier, and all you need is a cheat sheet to show you exactly what to say and do. My dispute letter library will give you access to letters that cover a wide range of accounts and make it easy to know what to say regardless of your situation. So if you want to get more done and get better results while also getting your time back, check out my dispute letter library in the description below and start reaping the same benefits my other customers are seeing. Okay, what's good, everybody? Will Frazier, your business and credit expert here. And if you like to hear information about improving personal credit, business tips, and business funding options, make sure you hit the thumbs up to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified anytime I put out a new video just like this one. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about a tool that you can use to keep up with your business transactions, like your customer sales, your expenses, inventory. You can get a plethora of reports which will actually help you get a good idea of what's actually going on with your business, like where your money's going to, how many people actually owe you, which can help you run your business more efficiently. So this is an accounting tool that I'm talking about, and most of you guys have probably heard of it, but maybe you've never used it before. And what I'm talking about is Quickbooks. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look in the deep dive, not a deep dive, but I'm going to give you like an overview of QuickBooks and how some of the key functions that you might be using will actually work in there. And if you're interested in trying them out, they actually have a discount of 30% off of their already, low cost services for the next 6 months. So you can get 30% off for the next 6 months and try this out and see if it does actually make your life a little bit easier, or your accountant or tax preparer's life a little bit easier, because it's really only about 6 months left in the year anyway, at least at the time of this recording. So go ahead and check out the link for them down below if you want to try this tool out, but let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, everybody, as you can see here, we are actually in the dashboard of my QuickBooks. You can see when you actually log in, they have, a very easy to view workspace here. It shows you money in, money out, any accounting reports. So really simple. You can also be connected with your accountant, or where they can be connected to your QuickBooks so that you can have them to, look into your information, make whatever, changes they need to make or adjustments they need to make. And when it comes to, accounting, it may sound like, or maybe, look like something that's very, overwhelming and whatnot. I actually went to school for business. I got a master's in business finance. So I have already done, my learning on accounting principles and stuff like that and how it works. So some of you guys may not have that, but QuickBooks makes it really easy for you to have that stuff in place. And it's even easier if you have somebody to do this stuff for you, of course. But again, I wanted to show you, some of the basic things that you would, be using it for, so that you can see how simple and easy it is to put the information in. And once you record it, and of course you should record the information into the system as it happens, so that you don't have to be going back months later trying to figure it out. One thing I recommend is possibly, every Sunday at the end of the week, if you haven't been doing it as the transactions happen, you can go in and, do everything for that week. Because of course it'll be easier to remember what you spent, what reason you spent money for different things, so you can properly categorize that expense, which is the most important thing, to do in the system. Well, outside of making sure your customers who owe you are paying you. So first things first, really quick here, you can see on the left side over here, you have the dashboard, you have transactions. Oh, and there's actually something with banking, which will make your life completely easier than having to do a whole lot of manual actions. And we'll get to that in a minute. You can keep up with your sales here, invoices, you can send estimates, you can list your products and services, you can put customer lead information in here, information on marketing. You can get your cash flow information here, expenses and vendors that you pay. You can do payroll with them. You can keep up with time entries of your employees if you have any. Of course, as I mentioned, they have reports like profit and loss, a balance sheet. So while you're entering in, just your regular information on a daily basis, you can go check those reports and you can see a profit and loss. If you didn't know how to put one together, or a balance sheet, how to put one together, it'll automatically put things in order for you to see them in an easy and plain way, just from you entering your transactions in, of course, the correct way. Of course, QuickBooks is owned by Intuit, which is also partly a tax software, so they have tax information in here as well. You can keep up with your mileage here, if you're a real estate agent or somebody that does a lot of driving for your job. Of course, accounting, that's something that some of you guys may not dig into. You can dig into. This is the part where you can, have your accountant information in there for whoever you want to look over your books and keep up with them for you, and a few other things here. And they have the settings right up here where you can put your company information in. You can look at lists of your recurring transactions, your products. You can reconcile bank statements by downloading your PDF from your bank, and you can upload them into QuickBooks, and then you can reconcile those in here. They have budgeting that you can do here. It's a lot of different features that they offer you. But again, we're about to go ahead and take a look at some of the simple things that you would probably do. So pretty much for everything that you might need to do, while you could do it from here, which might be a little bit easier for some of you guys. Also, the main area you can go to do things like, let's say, get customer invoices is right here. Click new to create a new transaction. Of course, you can see here you can go to payroll, time entry, and some of these actions you can only do on certain versions of QuickBooks. So you'd have to make sure that you have that version of QuickBooks that offers, whatever that feature is that you're trying to use. But really quickly, we're going to go here to invoice. So with invoices, this is where, you want a customer to pay you something that they owe you. So right here, very simply, you can have a customer that you might already have entered and it will pop up. But if you don't have a customer, you can create one very easily. You can see there. So I'm going to go ahead and just enter a customer in here just for, the sake of this video. So that's their name. Their email is going to be. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make an email up here, phone number. Okay. So I think we have enough information in there. It made up some information there for addresses. You can attach notes and documents. You can put payments in here, and you can, add additional information like tax information. All of that, hit save. And then boom, we got the customer's information here. Their billing address is over here. You can see the email address right there. So all of that is part of the invoice. You can put the terms here. If it's due on receipt, if they have, 30 days to pay, if they have 15 days to pay, or if it's due now, you can put all of that there. The date that you created the invoice, the date that it's due, all of that can be input there. Right here, you can put whatever the product is. You can put the date that you actually service this customer if that's important with your business. But product and service, you can always add a new one, or you can just put one in there from the drop down of things that you might have in there. So basically we have that product in there. You can see the price populates in there for you, and what you can do is you can make this a recurring payment for your customers. All you have to do is click that right there. You can see the customer's name is already there and their information. You can put how many days in advance you want this to be, generated, this invoice to be generated. You can automatically send an email to the customer when it's generated. You can set the interval to be monthly, on a certain day, which would be the first of every 1 month, or you can do, every first Wednesday or something like that. So you have, a lot of different options on how you can choose the interval as far as the date goes. And then you just hit save template, and then it will save that recurring transaction for this person. And, of course, we're not going to do that at all. But after that, you can hit save and send, and it'll email the invoice to the customer. And then, of course, you can come here to receive payments. And what you would want to do is you would want to find the customer that you had an invoice for. You would mark the date that they paid. You would put the payment method that they use, American Express, cash, or whatever. And you can put where you deposited those funds to, so you can have an accurate record of where you actually put the money. And of course, if you have one business bank account, it's going to always be that business bank account. But if you have more than one business bank account, then you would do that. Now, if you haven't deposited the money yet, you can use undeposited funds, which is like a generic account that you just use until you actually deposit funds for a customer. And then after that, you hit save and close. And then that transaction has been recorded at that point. Now, going back, you will also have, bills that you'll be paying. Of course, for your business, you might be paying, inventory bills. You might be paying marketing expenses. You might be paying for a certain software for appointments or your CRM. So all of that stuff you can list here. You can pick your vendor that you're actually, using, or that you're actually, paying that bill to. You can, of course, add a new one right there. Anytime you have a new person that you're paying, you can put if it's due on receipt, or, how your terms are that you have to pay. Do you have 30 days to pay? Do you have 15 days to pay? You can put the due date right there. And of course, you are going to categorize what this expense to them is going to be. So, you just go here, go to the drop down. You can add a new one, but you can just add what type of expense it is. It can be something for general, admin expense, whatever the case may be. And then of course you enter in the dollar amount for how much you actually pay for that. And the only thing you have to do after that is you could make it a recurring bill that happens, on the same date every month if it is like that, or you don't have to do that, and you can just create this anytime it's one that is due. And you can just go over here to save and schedule payments. And now when you are actually doing the payments, and we're not saving that, so we're going to go over here. So when you're actually paying your bills, you can see that screen from here. If you had, certain bills that were already out there in the system, they would show up here. You can enter bills straight from this screen as well, as you can see. And that will take you back to the last screen that we were just on, where you could create the bill. But once it's time to pay the bill, you just click it, and then you'll hit what account you're paying from and the amount that you're paying, hit save, and then it'll pay the bill for you. So all of that, as you can see, is very simple and neat. You have little notifications that'll pop up here if there's a bill that needs to be paid, or just if you or just anything that you need to be aware of that the system knows you need to do or take care of. All of that stuff can show up right here. And one thing that I mentioned to you earlier that's going to be very beneficial and save you a whole bunch of time and get you a lot of your time back to do other things that you need to focus on is the transactions and the banking. So when you come in here, you will be able to connect your bank account, and you will be able to see all the transactions that came in from your bank. Just like on the transactions in your, bank, when you log in to see who took money out, it'll show that information in here for you. And it'll show, if they have a record of where the money came from, if it came in, then it'll show that. And then of course, you just select, what, if it was an expense, you would select what vendor it was. If it was money that came in, you could select what customer it was. You would select what account that money went into. If it was income, you can select what account that money came out of. You can also, the account that the money came out of is already selected at the top because you logged into it. But when I say account, I actually mean the category of the expense. Like if it was a marketing expense, if it was an inventory expense, you can select that right here, and you can go ahead and save or confirm the transaction. And then that way QuickBooks knows that, okay, this transaction was me paying a certain vendor, and it goes to this account, and it allows everything to simply and plainly be categorized, and you have an accurate record of what's been going on in your business without you having to create the bill, create the payment. It's already being pulled in from your bank account. Again, making things way easier for you and for your accountant or whoever is doing your books if you have somebody doing that. Now, you can also create rules. You can actually attach receipts. So if you've paid for certain things and you want to keep a record of the receipt in digital form, you can attach that to the transaction so you'll know where that actually came from. You can create rules. Now, QuickBooks can automatically create a rule for you as well, but you can create rules that every time you see a payment from this vendor, make it this category and so on and thus forth. And if you have a customer payment that always comes in and maybe it's the same amount for a certain customer, you can make the rule that every time you see a certain amount from this customer is this type of category of transaction or whatnot. So you have all of those controls. Now also, QuickBooks will make your life easier as well, because after a certain amount of time of using it and they see that you are actually having the same transactions happen over and over and it's the same amount over and over, it will automatically make recommendations as to, hey, is this type of expense always going to be this? And it'll ask you to confirm, and then it'll automatically pick the right categories, pick the right vendors for you. And then that's all you have to do is hit confirm, versus having to review something that isn't a usual type of transaction or in the beginning when you're first getting started. Now, because of all of those reasons, like I said, QuickBooks can make your life a whole lot easier if you're actually trying to, find a better way to keep up with your transactions, your expenses, your income, so that you don't have as much work to do when it's time to actually do your taxes, or so that your accountant or your tax person doesn't have a whole lot of work to do and they don't charge you extra money for it. But again, that is QuickBooks. Now, again, if you guys are interested in using QuickBooks, go ahead and use that link down in the description so you can get a discount. Again, that's 30% off for the next 6 months. So make sure you take advantage of that so that you can save money while testing this out and seeing if this is something that can work for you. I've been using it since the beginning in my business, and it has been a wonderful tool to use for me. And my accountant also loves it as well. So hopefully you saw some value in this as well. If you did like this video, give the video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you can be notified anytime I let out some more videos like this. Now, what feature did you see in QuickBooks that sounds like it would be something very useful to you to use while you're trying to keep up with your transactions, or, passing this off to your tax person? What sounded like it would be the most beneficial to you? Now, I thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'll see you all next time.